Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. This is the 90 Degree Show brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. I'm your official Marching Podcast announcer, David Thompson, and here's your host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
Good evening and welcome to the 90 Degree Show. I am your host, Joe Beard, and happy to be of service for you tonight. Today is October 13th, 2013, 5 o'clock on the West Coast, 8 o'clock on the East Coast. We appreciate all those listening live or listening in podcast form through Blog Talk Radio, our website, or through iTunes. At the end of the broadcast, if you decide you like the show, then we appreciate a donation to the network if you feel so in your heart, of course. Just simply go to themarchingpodcast.com and click on the donate button to help improve the show and help build our scholarship fund. All right, tonight we are in week 7, and this weekend was the great Circle City Classic in Indianapolis, Indiana. The matchup for 2013 was the Alcorn State University Braves and the Grambling State Tigers, a great rivalry of the SWAC Conference. We will also talk about my former school, Johnson C. Smith, versus Winston Salem State. Before we get into Week 7, I will announce our Week 6 featured matchup winner for the Atlanta Classic, North Carolina A&T versus South Carolina State. But before we announce the winner, let's hear from our beloved sponsors. Tonight's show is brought to you by Liquid Effects Photography, Block Band Music, Bandhead.org, Big Deal Fundraising, and HBCUnews.net. The next segment is brought to you by Liquid Effects Photography and Big Deal Fundraising. Let's take the time to hear from them now.
Attention high school directors and alumni. Does your band need to raise money to travel, buy instruments, or uniforms? Are you looking to raise money to help your band? Well, Big Deal Fundraising is rapidly becoming one of the largest distributors of fundraising products in the industry. Big Deal is based in New York City and ships anywhere in the United States, offering quality products, fast delivery, and innovative consultation that will help you meet your fundraising goals. Call today at 855-244-4430 or visit us at BigDealFundraisingUSA.com. Big Deal Fundraising, your fundraising partner for your band or music ensemble. Having an anniversary party, birthday party, or better yet, you're about to marry that special someone? Liquid Effects Photography is the perfect choice to immortalize all your most special moments. With 10 years of dependable professional service that can deliver from the conventional to the best in cutting-edge technology and creativity. Come experience the uniqueness of Liquid Effects Photography. We serve the entire upper Midwest and will travel further upon request. Come check us out at liquideffects.com. That's LIQUIDEFFEX.com. Or call us at 773-454-5556. That's 773-454-5556.
Okay, thanks to our sponsors to help improve our show and help build our scholarship fund and allow us to broadcast during these peak hours. Okay, it's time to announce the winner of our Week 6 matchup, and that was the Atlanta Classic between South Carolina State and North Carolina A&T. And I'll go ahead and let's go ahead and get a little suspense. I'm still working with these sounds. Let's go ahead and get a little suspense here. All right, now with 87% of the vote, that's right, 87% of the vote, North Carolina A&T wins the Marching Podcast 2013 People's Choice Awards for who won the battle of the 2013 Atlanta Classic. So, congratulations, North Carolina A&T. We'll definitely tweet them and let their program know that they won this weekend. And again, we'll be talking about this week's matchup, and please go to themarchingpodcast.com every week to vote on who you feel won our featured matchup. So now it's time to move on to Week 7, and tonight we're going to talk about some great institutions. Again, the outline for tonight's show will be Johnson C. Smith versus Winston-Salem State, and then we will get into our featured matchup, Grambling State University versus Alcorn State University. If you're listening at home, feel free to call in anytime at 718-664-6025. If you were at the Circle City Classic or at the Smith and Winston game, I think that was Winston-Salem State's homecoming, I believe. But if any of you were there or any other matchup that you want to talk about, please call in and give me the atmosphere of what was going on. This week I was excited to talk about the bands because I went to Smith, but also the director at Winston-Salem, Dr. Michael Magruder, was one of my beloved directors at Jackson State University. And he's now at Winston doing a great job, and I'm happy to see him on his own, in his own space, to be honest with you. You know, I'm blessed to have the directors that I had at Jackson State. I mean, I had a legendary list. And Magruder, I remember with him, what was funny, I remember, you know, the trumpet section, we were always down front. But, you know, when I got to be an upperclassman, you know how that is. You know, I started keep my horn off my mouth when we were out there marching on the field, you know, being a true upperclassman, so to speak. And, you know, I remember he always used to get on me or say something to the fact about, you know, we appreciate when your horn is on your face and when we're marching or something he would say. And I would be like, okay, yes, sir, you know. But definitely just remember that, and I know that he's doing a good job out there at Winston-Salem State. So props to you, Dr. Magruder. And it's doctor now, which was another thing he was funny. He used to get on us about. He was getting his doctorate, I believe, at Ole Miss. So it was a good commute involved. I'm sure a couple hours or something back and forth. And he used to get us. I never miss class, you know, and I get on the road so many hours away, and some of y'all miss class, and y'all so many feet away from the classroom. I remember he used to get on us. But, yeah, man, just props to you, and just really excited thinking about him, brought the good nostalgia effect going on. So, again, call in if you would like, 718-664-6025. This is a 90-degree show brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. Thanks for listening. Our first matchup, Smith and Winston-Salem. Winston-Salem, I saw them on the field for a show on September 14th, and they sound pretty good, you know, for their size. They have a nice full sound. They have a good balance, high and low brass. The marching, you know, I like the drills that they're performing for their size. It's early in the year, so you can tell that they were getting tired toward the end of the drill, and the sound was getting softer, you know, according to the tape I saw on 914. They came back with the songs that they played for the dancers and the flags, because, you know, they were standing still, they caught their breath, and they were good, really good full sound, like I said. And at the end of the second song, the trumpets, you know, showed up. You know, they did really well. So, you know, you're impressed with what you see. They went right into the dance routine, and they kept some good energy. They had a drum break for the end of the dance routine that I enjoyed. They had an exit that was kind of crunk. You know, I'm not sure if it's the current song or if it's a Winston thing, but it's definitely for the home crowd, kind of similar to JSU Rock the House. You know, they come off the field and they do something out on the right there on the sidelines for the home crowd. I didn't find any tape of them in the stands per se until the fifth quarter came out today, and well, you know, it really wasn't the fifth quarter. I don't think, you know, I think it was one song, and I didn't find that much of them. Yeah, we're talking about Winston. Yeah, I didn't find that much of them, and other than that, you know, I'm looking at like how they stood still on the tape, and for their halftime show. So I kind of assessed that for their stand presence. And I'm sure they're legit in the stands because, you know, they'll be sitting closer together. The leadership of Dr. Magruder, you know, will play into the play calling and the book that they have. So I'm sure that they're legit in the stands. I know Magruder wrote some good power songs for us, you know, which explains, you know, that sound of the chords that they have. So I think that overall that they're a really good band, and, you know, definitely a competitor to face against. Now, this was their homecoming, so they invited Smith on the field. I saw Smith. I saw this weekend's game, and I saw Smith against Livingstone. I think that's the main tape that you got there out there on Smith right now. They have good energy, and I actually like the uniforms. I like the Golden Bullet uniforms. They don't have a full sound, though, however. You know, you have some people that stick out more than others, and it's mostly because of the instrumentation and the musicality of the band. I like their drill because it's perfect for their size. They always face the crowd, not all the time, but definitely because of their size and their sound. They always make sure that they keep, I saw, some backwards marching and some things down front where they were keeping the horns to the crowd, which I enjoyed. Livingstone has a similar type of thing, but I enjoy that type of. I enjoy those patterns of motion, so I give them props for that. You can tell though that there's not a music program there. It's the intonation issues, and there's not even a even volume between the members. Like I said earlier, some folks stick out more than others, but you can tell the songs that they know and the songs they don't. It's just not the complete band. They have good energy though, and it could be better. Well, the energy wouldn't be better. I'm just saying, I guess, just the overall, it's just the energy. They have to come with the energy, which is obvious. In the stands, they can get hype, but the instrumentation is not there. So, it would hurt them in a heated competition. The field show was very Smith. They had some energy. I felt that, they got their point across. They had a good drill. They played, I think, All I Do. And they had a good Smith show. And the drummers, Funk Five Mob, shout out to you. They're always playing something good for the drum breaks and the dance routine part. So you always have to give them the thumbs up for that. I just don't think that they have the guns to contend with Winston Salem State. Overall, I have to give the halftime show to Winston. They just have a decent energy, but I like the drills that they're able to perform. I like Smith's drills a lot, like I talked about earlier with, keep in front, but the sound that Winston has is just overwhelming compared to the sound that Smith has. Winston's show, and to be honest, Winston's show was just super basic. You didn't have to blow the fans away to get by Smith, and, they just had an okay show, but it was better than Smith's, I believe. In the stands, I think it's probably the same. I think Winston just has the better program. And I don't think that – well, let me say it like this. I think that Winston has more support from their school, probably the uppers of the administration, because of the lack of the music program. And it seems like there's always some type of drama there at Smith. And I don't know how long it's been like that, but, I marched there in 96, and, there was tension between, how much emphasis you're going to put in the band program here. And it's important because there's some the Smithites out there who love band and want to see Smith as a powerful house, and, but, it is very laughable, quote unquote, when people talk about Smith sometimes. And, it's not cool. But all you have to really do is look at Livingstone and look at Elizabeth City, so that something can be done and someone's doing it. If they can do it, I'm sure Smith can do it. Especially when you think about a lot of those graduates from Elizabeth City and Livingstone, they end up moving to Charlotte anyway when they graduate. So, something could be done as far as recruiting and people going to Smith. I just would like it because of, my personal ties to Smith. I would just like to see it happen. Things could be interesting with the play calling if there was like a fifth quarter with Smith, but I think that Winston would be prepared overall for whatever that they were throwing at him. So, again, I guess it's Winston for the field and Winston for the stands. We're going to go ahead and take another break before we break down the Circle City Classic, and then we'll bring in our experts for the next segment, and we'll discuss the matchup that you've been waiting for, or any other matchup that they want to talk about, or you, the listener at home, feel free to call in at 718-664-6025. This is the 90 Degree Show, brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. Thanks for listening. The next segment is brought to you by bandhead.org and Block Band Music. Let's take the time to hear from them now.
What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to bandhead.org. And coming this fall, HBCUbands.com. Write that down, HBCUbands.com. Block Band is a minority-owned music business that you can think of as your assistant band director. We help grow your musicians with a great selection of traditional concert band music. Then we back up their performance with necessities like reeds, oil, drum heads, drumsticks, and mallets. Finally, we outfit your players and auxiliary in shoes, spats, and gloves that match our precise custom drills. Got band? If so, then Block Band's got you. Check blockbandmusic.com or call us at 919-698-2560. That's blockbandmusic.com, 919-698-2560.
All right, we're back for the next break. We're going to bring in our guest. I think Rashad is on the line, but you're welcome to call in at 718-664-6025. You're listening to Winston Salem State, and they are playing their Earth, Wind, and Fire medley there. We'll go ahead and bring in Rashad. Rashad, are you there?
Yes, sir. What's happening there, man?
Hey, man, what's going on, man? Good to hear from you. How you doing this weekend?
Oh, man, you know what, Joe? I don't know about you, man, but I'm a whole lot older than I thought I was. I went up to Hampton Homecoming this weekend, you know, and for the most part, I didn't play or anything, but at the end, I get hyped. And, yeah, let me just say I need to sit down and put some ice hot on.
Well, that's what's up, man. Well, I'm glad that you're able to make it in and call in tonight, man. I was just talking about in the previous segment, Johnson C. Smith and Winston-Salem State. Have you seen either band or?
I sure did, Joe. I think I saw the same show that you did from the stands. I mean from the sidelines. Excuse me. Yeah.
Okay.
So here's kind of what I thought. Johnson C. Smith, the number one word that I would say for them would be confidence, or actually the lack thereof with confidence. Mm-hmm. It seems like they have a lot of good ideas, but there's very little confidence in the execution. Like if you watch the marching, it's a good idea for them to have their horns facing straight ahead like they're doing. It seems to be something that's carrying over here on the east side of the country. However, it didn't seem like anybody knew exactly when to turn. Like, you know, you'd be shifting to the right, and all of a sudden, okay, do I go on count 7.5 or 8.5? You know, so I noticed a lot of insecurity in tone qualities, in trombone slide position. You could really hear, you know, whoa, is that second position or 2.5 position? Let me see here. Must get out of the. Oh, when they were hitting their rotations, you know, one of the big things. I'm sure you guys at Jackson State talked about this. But when you hit a rotation, the first thing you got to do is you got to get out the hole, man. You can't
you can step
when you
out.
Turn around. Yeah, that left foot can't land where you're standing. The left foot has got to go. You know, you got to almost take a bigger than average step since your momentum is going in the opposite direction. But that's exactly the opposite of Johnson C. Smith. They turned around and that left foot was right there in place. You know, it throws your face off. Let's see here. When the dance girls were dancing, I don't know if you noticed it, Joe. It was like that routine was a completely different thing than what the band was playing. Like if you listen to the high points of what's going on in the music, and I think it was like a soft point in the beginning of the music, you could have just stopped. The band could have just stopped playing as far as the dancers were concerned, and vice versa. The dancers didn't even have to be there because it didn't seem like the units were cooperating at all there. You might as well have been Grambling, right?
Right. Right. I'm about to say, I didn't even notice that, man. Wow.
And maybe you can tell me a little bit about this, man, but the drum majors don't dance during the dancing team?
I'm not really sure what's going on with that. I think that's something new that they're doing. You know, that's one thing about Smith. And, you know, I put this on. There is a little Smith Facebook page, you know, IIOS Smith, and I was hoping, you know, one of the Smithites would call in. But, you know, that was one thing, you know, that's one reason why I transferred was that there was no tradition. You know, like when I got there, you know, it wasn't like where I learned about some guys that had been there 10 or 15 years ago. And, you know, they were doing the same things for over. The things we were doing, you know, were relatively somewhat new, you know, from, you know, of course, the Mr. Gray days when he was there. But definitely, you know, it seemed like Smith always starts over every year. So, you know, I noticed that, too. That's definitely new. You met Chris Jones, and you know for sure that a dude like that was not, if he marched for Smith, he wouldn't just be standing around during, you know, somebody like Chris Jones. Like, so he was much more involved with the things they were doing. It was Chris Jones, this guy named Derek Lakes, and Brad Mosley. That's the three that were the drum majors when I was there. And they did, you know, dances, and they did sequences and stuff. But that's something new, and I guess that's what the director, word on the street, and of course this is the word on the street, but the guy is there to get his education and move on. He's not necessarily there to be doing something substantial or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of, you know, the word is that's kind of something new. You know, when I was there, they danced. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, they danced. That I guess this. I don't know when that started, but I guess it's with the new guy. You know.
Well, in drum majors, I've always seen drum majors dance. You know, I've seen, you know, several bands go back and forth between whether your dancers dance with the band or not. You know, but I've always seen drum majors dance. So I've never seen a show-style band that was like that. Where does this current band director come from?
I believe he's from Norfolk State. I believe he went to play trumpet at Norfolk State. That's all the information I had about him. And poor Smith, man, like, I mean, this is now, I think, like the fourth or fifth director that I've heard about in at least, like, I don't know, 12 years. I chopped it up with T.D. Hollins. You know, he's out at St. Aug. He was at Smith for a while. And, well, of course, Mr. Gray was there when I was there. Then a guy from FAM. A guy from FAM played trombone at FAM. He was a Kappa. I remember he was there. And then, like, another guy was there. It's just like, wow, like, what's going on? And it's something like I was talking about my analysis. They just don't have the same support from the admins or whoever there who have some type of support there in the city. They don't have the same band type of support. They are not tripping about a band at Johnson C. Smith University, you know. It's kind of a sad thing, but it is what it is type of thing, you know.
Well, it's got to be something that you force it to happen. You know, you have to, as the band director, you have to make your program relevant. You have to make it something that our band program cannot be ignored. Period. No, because there's many a program. You don't walk into that many band programs unless it's already been established and just say, hey, give me the thousands of dollars I need to do this. You know, if you brand new, which, as you're saying, they're having to start over all the time, you have to force that to happen. Yeah, that's something, man. That's something, man. Well, we want to get into the featured matchup this week, and that was the Circle City Classic, Grambling State versus Alcorn State. I'll let you go ahead and have the floor. Did you get a chance to check out the Circle City Classic? Did you? Okay, so we're going to skip Winston?
Oh, man, I'm tripping. We talked about Smith. Yeah, man. You know what? Go ahead. What did you think about? Well, you know what? I asked you this. Who do you think won the halftime show between Winston and Smith?
Well, I heard you before I got on, and I agree with what you said. I think their show was decent, but I think that it was better than Smith's. I think that the main thing with them, I think they have a lot of good ideas. It kind of reminded me of a high school band competition. No offense to them. What I mean by that is they're playing a lot of things to be impressive. That's what I mean by that. But the only thing about that is they just need to focus on the details. A lot more attention to detail and a lot more attention to open-throated, warm blowing from the instruments. You notice a lot of cold tone, particularly coming from the trumpets and the baritones a lot. So they just need to focus on those details a little bit, and I think that'll be good.
Okay. I tell you what, man, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to take one more commercial break because I want to get this out the way. I think we got a caller from the 704 area code, and we'll let them think. I think that's Chris Jones, but we're going to let him speak because I know he knows about Smith there, and he's living there in Charlotte. But we're going to take one more commercial break, and then we'll be back with you and Chris Jones' analysis about the CIAA, and then we'll get into the Circle City Classic as well when we return.
Sounds good.
Do you know where to find scholarship information and other financial resources that are available to HBCU students? Are you up to date on the latest information in the HBCU world? If you answer no to any of these questions, then HBCU News with the Reads is the place for you. We provide information to spark interest, success stories of graduates, and the latest on issues that you care about. So check out HBCU News with the Reads Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on blogtalkradio.com/marching podcast. Check out our website and point your browser toward hbcunews.net and join in on the calls and discussion today. This is David D. Frost Thompson.
And this is Bring the Pain, Howard Payne.
We will be your host for a new show on the Marching Podcast, the That's What I'm Talking About show. Produced by the founder of the Marching Podcast, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard. We will be addressing current events and topics that affect us all. You can find us on themarchingpodcast.com, tweet us at TWIMTA, or check us out on Facebook. So tune in your browser, turn up the volume, and turn on your mind to the That's What I'm Talking About show on the Marching Podcast Network.
All right, we're back. You are now listening to Livingstone have this West Coast mix, and I talked about this when we talked about Livingstone. They got this Dre West Coast Snoop. What's this neck version that I really, really like? You're listening to that now. And when we went to break, we played Johnson C. Smith. I think their score song. So we'll go ahead and try to add in some more flavor with some more songs while we're talking here, the 90 Degree Show, and we appreciate all your support and listening. So, yeah, we'll bring that in. We also going to bring in a new person on the panel. It's Chris Jones. Are you there, Chris Jones?
What's up, Joe Beard? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right, Chris Jones. Welcome back to the 90 Degree Show. It's been a long time since you've been on the show, man.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back, Joe. Man, hey, you know, I just got to say it, though. Love the boom, love the double IOS. Got to say that.
I heard that, man. When we were just talking about Smith, did you get a chance to check out Smith and Winston Salem, or do you know anything about what's going on with the program next, Smith?
honestly, I did check it out. I watched both halftime shows. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, it's almost getting sad to see what's happening to Smith and the level that they've gotten to right now. You know, I don't see them growing or striving to be any better. You know, just the mentality that we used to have at Smith is not there. And, you know, I hate to even be the bearer of bad news like that, but, I mean, it's you know that's how it is, Joe. You know, we love band, and if you love it, you know, you hold it and trust it. And, you know, you show your love for it. You know, I don't see that love no more. I don't see the dedication. I definitely don't see the push. You know, they have their good points. But I just have to say, Winston has come so far. I remember when Winston used to have 25 people in the band.
Yeah, right.
And a woodblock player, and they used to march high step in the snare drums.
Wow.
But they've come to a point now. Yeah, they used to march high steppers. There was only CIAA band that was marching high steppers. You know, like the bands in New Orleans do.
Right.
That's what they used to do back in the day. But yeah, I mean, their style has come to a complete new style. I mean, they have a new level, man. They're more creative. They have a swag style to them because of Mr. Magruder, of course. But they also have that chorus, you know, the East Coast, the tone of bass drum type thing, you know. And, you know, something I like it, but you know, it's something that has grown on you. But I'm impressed with Winston. I have to say they look way better than Smith. And I don't know. I know they're going through some dilemmas there.
Do you think Winston won in the stands? And I don't know if there was a fifth quarter, but do you think they won on the halftime show? Yeah. You think they would win both, right?
All of the above, Joe. Hey. I'm just saying, man. I mean, it's one thing when you're playing, but it's one thing when you're playing.
Right.
And I heard some things. Like I said, Smith has some strong points. They have a good percussion section. But
they do.
At the same time, and this comes from me, you know, they don't play the same things that we used to play. And that's a bad point. That's a bad part. But, you know, I mean, they don't sound the same we used to sound. I mean, when I go to Jackson State still sound like Jackson State. You know, if I go to Southern still sounds like Southern. You know,
right.
And that tradition is not there, and they're not playing. That's probably the strongest point they have is the drum line. This new futuristic Funk 5 Mob. I mean, I like the guys, and they're good, great players. But you know, you know, we should always say go back to the old school. But I'm talking off the subject, man. But anyway.
Well, it's cool. It's I mean, it's just how I feel. I mean, it's, you know, that's the tradition. Like there was just not a tradition. You know, it's hard to establish it at Smith, and they have to start over so many years. You know, and it's frustrating, I'm sure, for people at Smith. You know, I was just telling Rashad, you know, I'm on a Facebook group thing with Smith, and I mean, it's bad. I mean, was Chris Jones, you on that page? I mean, it's a good page because you're able to contact and you're able to see people you're in the band with, but I mean, it's not crunk. No band tapes. No nothing. No talk about bands. It's more people putting they businesses on that jump more than anything.
Exactly. It's not nothing about who we heard the band played this or even
right.
You know, and you know, I think I'm going to start myself. You know, one of the things I'm going to start doing is going back and when I get a chance to go to band practice. I don't, when we had State, when we had J State. Alumni would always come to band practice. You would always see somebody, you know, alumni there. You know, it was just like a support thing too. But you know, we're not the alumni. We're not supportive of the band, not like we need to. And I blame myself too, man. I do. I honestly do.
Well, that's what's up, man. I feel you, man. That's cool. It's we done our thing. Looks like we all agree about Smith and Winston-Salem. We'll go ahead and get into our feature matchup, the Circle City Classic. I'll read through my little spiel right quick, and I'll let you guys talk about Grambling and Alcorn. I saw the fifth quarter of Grambling against them in Alabama A&M, and they have some numbers and they have some volume and power, you know, standard SWAC stuff. But, you know, that's about it to me. They got the very low brass, heavy sound, but I still hear a lot of holes in their sound, some intonation issues, and it's mostly horns. I mean, it's not really the trumpets are not profound, and definitely some like something Rashad was talking about, that confidence. I hear that in Grambling, and with those type of numbers, you shouldn't hear that. Their book seems okay, but recognizing what they're playing, all the times is kind of difficult. They play fantasy, Earth, Wind and Fire, and I've heard some high school sound better than that, and it makes me wonder who kind of the directors are. But at the same time, it might not be a lot of musicians that are going to Grambling at the same time. They had a halftime show in Kansas City at Arrowhead, and their precision is okay. I mean, it's not the best, but it's okay. I like the drills because in the SWAC, the SWAC drills, that's how we do it.
Emotion. Yeah.
Yeah, but like without that precision, the drill, another thing they're known for is like dancing and playing. Like they just can't sit still and just play.
Right.
Keith
is a dancing.
It's just like a showmanship, and then they have like a weird type of. I'm not gonna say weird, but they have their own type of dance block, or like it's like their own. I don't know if it's a block band formation, but it's always some type of formation they get into.
Championship belt.
Okay, yeah, that's what that. Okay. I didn't know that's what that was. It was a championship belt.
The championship belt.
Yeah, they made that formation, and they stayed in that, and they danced. So I'm glad you said that. So I give them a little bit more props for that. But I didn't know that's what that was, though.
They were saying that they were the champions.
No, I'm not saying that's what it's supposed to be. That's just what it looks like every year.
Okay.
Okay. I'm about to say, Grambling do the championship belt there. I'm about to take your word for it, man, and run with it.
They got that new drill called the championship belt.
Right. So I'm glad you said that. But I mean, they didn't receive too much house, but and that was a trip because usually at those crowds with the majority the PWC crowds, mostly NFL crowds, they want to see you shake it. They say, sure, they get crap but they didn't really do anything for Grambling. But of course, Grambling, they have the ace in the hole, just like Jackson State. We had the baby Tigers come out when we needed some house. Grambling gets down on the ground and they put one hand back and they do the joint when they kick their feet. And they did it, they do that. They've been doing that for like 10, 12 years or something every time.
That's their bread and butter.
That is. And they got some house for that, of course. And then they came off the field. But I wasn't impressed, per se, with Grambling. I've always thought of them. I don't know when. I'm sure that their band was good at a time. But, Grambling always Grambling gets those... they get a lot of love because of Eddie Robinson, and I think when they would come into town with their football team, you were coming to see a show because the football team was so good. I'm not sure, that band tradition is not there now. You know what I mean? And they had some decent energy. I saw a tape of them. I think I saw the actual. I saw the fifth quarter of them, and they sounded all right. I tell you. Jackson State's homecoming is this week. I hope they don't play Holy Grail at Jackson State.
Oh no, they don't do that.
They shouldn't do that.
Man, I want to make it a homecoming so bad. Anyway.
Yeah, it'll be cool. I'm sure it'll be nice, but definitely Grambling, man. They're a good band, and I think that they can catch somebody slipping. But Alcorn, I saw them the fifth quarter against Edward Waters, and They were much more hype against Edward Waters than they were against Grambling. To me, they seemed like they were kind of dead. The whole fifth was kind of lame. But Alcorn, they just seemed like they were there. They're loud and they're pretty powerful. They still have their moments of inaccuracies with a lot of slurring and a lot of issues, some musicality issues, but they're a good, strong band. They're strong in the horn section, and Alcorn always has some tubas, and I think that they benefit from being a blood rival to Jackson State, just because you're going against Jackson State every year, and, it's so close and so much of the rivalry. And, my father marched with Sam Griffith, who was the band director there at Alcorn for a while. I really liked the Fine China that they played. They had their little Fine China battle in this fifth, and I think Alcorn had the better one because of the false, and
tuba line.
Yeah, of course that too.
The beginning of Fine China, if you don't play the tuba line right, it can be right. Yeah, that it's like those 16 notes. The 16 note right. Nah, man, you got to play that right.
You got to play it right. It's a really good point.
You got to play it right. Yeah.
So and then I saw the field show. Their precision was poor, but they had good energy. They started out with a really, really good. Alcorn started out with a really, really good drill, but then at some times, like when the square got to be a line, it was really, really crooked. It was like, wow, Alcorn, and they had a couple of times where it was just very, very a fail in the actual drill. I mean, it was just bad, and I mean, to me with the drill, when you're doing those kaleidoscope motions and you making the one line turn into like four diamonds and all that, I don't like it when it's going back to the line. It turns out to be like an obtuse type of figure before it turns into a straight line. I think that's no one wants that to happen. If the director saw that at practice, he would be, stop, take it to the end zone, or, take it from the top. You know what I mean? He wouldn't let them finish practice like that. And Alcorn, I just didn't think their drill was on point. I think everything else was okay, but overall, I gave the stance to Alcorn just because I don't think Grambling has a musicality to contend with Alcorn. And on the field, I think that I gave it to. I think I gave it to Grambling on the field, just because of the drill that Alcorn had, and I felt that Alcorn, they got out there and they got off. They didn't get too much. They didn't get too much house or too much attention, and their dance routine was really short, and they just marched right off. So definitely, I think Alcorn won in the stands, but I think Grambling won on the field. Rashad, the Circle City Classic, man. What's your analysis of the Circle City Classic, man?
All right, so here's where I agree with you. As far as the house that Alcorn got, yes, absolutely right. There's very little house. But I think that has more so to do with the little things that get you house that Alcorn didn't have, more so than execution of their show. I actually had the exact opposite that you had. I had Alcorn on the field, and I had Grambling in the stands. And let me tell you,
okay.
We got Grambling. All right, so Grambling's doing these step twos. Well, first of all, let's start with the drum major. So the drum major thing was good, it was cool. They weren't very energetic, so that was a loss for me. But it was uniform. So if you're not going to be energetic, at least be identical, and they did succeed in doing that. As far as the drilling was concerned, all the step twos and things, in my opinion, if you're not going to be precise with the step twos, you don't need to do them. And that's the thing. It's like when you first saw those about first 6 or 7 counts of Grambling step twos, you're like, oh, man, look at Grambling. They're doing something. Count 8, count 9, whoa, what happened? It starts to turn, it looks more like a quilt that somebody's sleeping in. More so than the actual diamonds. More than the actual diamonds there. So I really was not happy with what was going on with their drilling. The other thing about that was that basically after they did that drill, if you notice, they didn't move again. They formed the championship diamond, and then they danced for Orchesis, and then they did their dance routine. They never moved again from that spot. So basically after doing steps, it was basically step twos and dancing the whole show.
That's a good point.
The dancing that they did with the girls was actually pretty good. Like, oh, I like that. That's pretty cool. The dancing that they did by themselves initially was not as good as when they did it with the girls, which I thought was weird until they did the Grambling, which, like you said, I mean, they've been doing that ever since, at least since I've been watching Grambling, which is back in 1993.
Yep.
For at least 20 years they've been doing that move, and like you said, they always get house. Let me see here. Now, I will say I did not see them from the front, so, I don't know what they sounded like. The trumpet sounded pretty strong, but more so it was the drilling overall. So now let's go ahead and turn on to Alcorn real quick. I really like Alcorn's drum major entrance. I really don't like the thing about putting the maces on the ground, though. I mean, it's kind of like, but that's just me as a band person. I don't like putting instruments on the ground, but it's like if you put your mace on the ground, I don't feel like you're drum majoring anymore. That's just me, personal opinion. I thought the thing was cool, though. Let me see here. Alcorn's show, problems in their show was more so general effect. For example, the announcer was hyping them up. All right, here comes the marching sounds of dynamite, blah, 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 blah. 3 seconds of silence. And then fanfare. And then after the fanfare was over, 3 or 4 seconds of silence. So the things that they were doing from the general effect perspective were really taken away from their show. Like you, I liked their drill. I thought it was pretty cool making the diamond and having the squares in the middle. Joe, I'll tell you exactly where their problem is. The problem is in the percussion section. The problem is in the snare drum. If you look at that square, it's the percussion section that's screwing it up every time. And particularly the snare drums. If you notice when they march, they are bobbing their heads when they're marching. And what's happening, even when they make the straight lines, if you're looking at the band and you're looking down the straight line, when they're bopping their heads, it actually makes them look like they're out of line, even when they're on the line, because nobody else is doing that. You know what I mean? And then when they start actually doing different formations and things, I can imagine trying to bop my head and play snare drum and march at the same time. Come on.
Wow.
You're going to get off, and that's what they were doing. So, I mean, I think Jack State does that. Maybe you guys are better at it. But Alcorn
I'm going to add to what you said, talking about the bop in the head, know what it is, and let's just go ahead and be simple and plain. It's called practice. If you practice it, you can do that. And I'm not going to say anymore, and I'm back.
It's called practice. Amen to that. I like the horn angles from the trombone section and stuff. Let me see here. Good drill concepts. Oh, one thing, and this is something for both bands, but particularly with Alcorn, every now and then you got to park and blow. You know what I mean? You can't just be drilling constantly you just need to stop and just say, crowd, hey, here's the song we're playing. So they can say, oh, that's the song they're playing. Because as long as half your band is facing either side, then you're losing a bit of that sound. And you just need to stop and do that every now and then. Dance routine, did not like the dance routine at all. And once again, the percussion section, as they were marching to the dance routine, if you look at that shot right there, if you look at the drum, it's a 45-degree slant, instead of a straight line. So they really need to focus on that stuff, and I hope they're listening to this. The dance routine, what the heck was up with the tempo?
I don't know.
It was like, we've got to get off the field in 5 seconds, so let's get this done. You know what I mean?
Very. It was really surprising, especially for the Circle City Classic. You know what I mean?
Right. Have you noticed there's a lot of variety in the dance moves? And not saying that Grambling didn't do this, but I noticed it more with Alcorn. Like there was even one time where if you see half the band, like they're doing a 2-person move, okay? So I'm talking about the person that gets on the ground. Some of the people were squatting on the ground, and some of the people were actually humping the ground. Well, that's two completely different moves, So, and that takes away from the dance routine. You need to watch some more takes of Bethune, and see everybody needs to do the same thing. It has a tremendous effect. All right, so I'm done with the show. Fifth quarter. I thought personally that Grambling's arrangements were more creative. After hearing Fire in China, I don't know how many times because it's been required by bands this year. I think every band director signed an agreement that, okay, when you do your drill this year, you're going to play Fine China or Treasure. That's it. And if you don't play it, you're fired. You know, so after hearing that song so many times, I kind of enjoyed some of the creativity in Grambling's arrangement, the run at the beginning, what was happening in the chorus behind the low brass at the beginning. I'm not saying the execution was better, but I did like the arrangement. And that was pretty much me all across the board with Grambling, that I thought the Alcorn's arrangements were more regular, and I do agree that there were some consistencies, particularly in the trumpet section, versus with Grambling, I thought the arrangements were more creative, and I thought they did a better job executing, except trumpet section's out of balance, definitely not strong enough to support the rest of the band, or maybe the rest of the band is out of balance. And also that Boogie Wonderland, it was like in a key, it's like a whole step too high or something, because you could hear the trumpets were just, they were struggling, and the mellophones were struggling to get those.
Once again, I go back to that one word: practice. Practice, man. Practice. I mean, serious. I think everybody's alluded from the point of practicing with preciseness, and I give my accolades to all these bands, but you know, like you say, I mean, the minimal mistakes are coming into play. And drilling, that's minimal mistakes, man. And that's not practicing. It's just like, you know, everybody has a routine. You get up in the morning, you walk. You get up in the morning, you go to the bathroom, whatever. You know, you have a routine. If you have a set routine when you're marching, if you drill that thing in their heads, that is drilled in it, I mean, it's almost like not messing up. That's why Southern does what they do. That's why Jackson State can do what they do, because of that they drill that in our heads. When we used to practice, Joe will tell you, we used to go over the show hundreds and hundreds of times. Then he would break it down, doggone show down, and have us do it by individual squads. I mean, it was just practice, precision. And that's what a HBCU band lives and thrives on. And I think a lot of the bands. Say what?
I was gonna, go ahead, because we got to do one more commercial break before we wrap up here.
I just think a lot of the bands have run away from being so precision wise, and even going to this chord style stuff. But hey, go ahead and let's go ahead and go to the break, Joe, and I'm trying to.
Was that all for your analysis? Was all mostly for your analysis, Rashad?
Just one other thing I noticed in particular with the my bed with Grambling. What was up with the phrasing? Like, somebody sleeping in my bed. Did y'all notice that?
Yeah. I you know, that was the part that was surprising to me, because, you know, that's one of my favorites. You know, Sleeping in My Bed, as far as just being a band song, and I thought that they were going to grab it. You know what I'm saying? I thought they were going to use the opportunity to, you know, I thought they were going to use the opportunity to I think we lost Chris Jones. If you can call back Chris Jones, give your analysis of the Circle City if you want to, man. But definitely, you know, I gave them props for that. But yeah, like, and then I think you made a good point about their arrangements. They definitely did show some creativity, and then they fit the arrangements for their instrumentation and the things that they have. So I do give them props for that. I as far as, you know, being doing something creative. But definitely the Boogie Wonderland too. You know, that could have been a song that gave was it Grambling? I think Grambling to me, like, you know, because like you said, they won the stands. I felt like they could have used that and really pushed Alcorn out, but it just didn't have the emotion with it. You know, I felt that neither band really like was crunk or something, like they were tired or something. But I think you made a really good point, man. So was that also? So you have the direct opposite of me. You have Grambling in the stands, and you had Alcorn on the field, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
The only other thing that I would add is, because I noticed I've said a couple things about Grambling's failures in the stands, so it makes it seem like they won. But if you listen to particularly the Fine China with Alcorn, Joe, there's some things going on in that percussion section. If you watch the band the bass drums, and this is Grambling too, but the bass drums, some of them never once ever look to the front. And they actually have their percussion instructor or some other director, I assume the percussion instructor, right there, and he's waving his hands. Hey, and if you notice, the tempo changes a lot. The tempo in that song changes drastically, like 3 or 4 times. You know, and these are issues. You know, I don't know whether it's a discipline issue or what's going on, but definitely these are things that are contributing to hurt Alcorn's band. I mean, watch the tape again and watch those bass drums. Alcorn, I mean, Grambling too. With both band drum lines seem like they're playing with the winds instead of creating the tempo center that everybody else sits on. But that was particularly noticeable with Alcorn's band.
And that's probably what I noticed. And I was going to say that's probably what I noticed, because if you look at tapes, I mean, if you look at the 5th quarter of Alcorn against Edward Waters, they were almost like a different band almost. And I think, like you said, it had a lot to do with what you're talking about with as far as the tempo. I know that some of the songs that they played seemed like they kind of dragged. And Fine China, you know, with that false ending, I thought that was going to be their bread and butter to come out smashing people with, but they didn't do it. You know, what was the other thing that you wanted to say, man?
Yeah, I found it interesting, and I can't really hate on this, Joe, because we did it at Hampton, but I didn't like it at Hampton. What's up with Alcorn, with the drum majors sitting in the front, 3 of them just chilling, doing nothing, and the band staff, it's like the director, and it's like 2 or 3 band staff that's conducting the band in the stands. Whereas if you look at Grambling, the director's still directing, but the drum majors are in there, you know, providing the additional tempos throughout the band. Why have drum majors if you're not going to put them to use?
Right. I guess just the others be dancing out there for halftime. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dance and go sit down. You know.
I heard that, man. Well, we're gonna take one more break, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up with your, you know, parting shots and your final analysis. And Chris Jones, if you're still out there listening, you can call back in and give what you thought about the Circle City Classic, and we'll go ahead and wrap up the show for the night.
Chopping It Up with the Marching Podcast is a podcast of one-on-one interviews with positive role models that have a connection through music and or education. We also give the listener an opportunity to call in and talk with our guests. We chop it up to give insight, information, inspiration, and advice in their endeavors. Chop it up with us every second Tuesday of the month at 9 p.m. Eastern. Chopping It Up, changing the world through positive interaction.
Okay, we're back in the final segment for the 90 Degree Show. You're now listening to Alcorn. It's Why Is Love a Crime, and that was the jam back in the day. I thought that they played this pretty well. It's just one thing that they do well, I think, at Alcorn. So just giving them props here before we sign off. Rashad, you still there?
Yeah, man.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let you have the parting shots for the night before we end the show. Anything that you got, anything coming up for block band music or any upcoming Battle of the Bands you're going to be attending?
Okay, as far as block band is concerned, man, we're just excited. Joe, we've sold 135 arrangements this year. We have discounted some drum and
that's outstanding, man.
Thank you, sir. And, of course, tons of fat shoes, gloves, and other types of things. So we're very, very excited about that. And, you know, as band competitions come up, we'll be continuing to visit those. This year I've been to Adrian Carroll in Durham, IC Norcom in Portsmouth, and Dillon High School in Dillon, South Carolina, and also Hampton Homecoming. So as stuff comes up, we'll still be out there supporting these bands and letting you guys know, what we're doing. We're compiling a list of show-style bands, and we're going to do our best to get in contact with you. But if you're listening and you don't know about us, please give us a call at 919-698-2560, 919-698-2560, and we can hook you up with everything that you need for your band. Anything that's coming up, I'm still excited about what's happening with A&T. I saw A&T against Hampton this past weekend, yesterday. It was a good battle. And I will tell you this, I'm excited about what's going to happen with Hampton in the future. It's been a long time since they've been on the radar, a really long time. But if you saw the game between the two, Hampton played well. Hampton's just small, just like Norfolk. They played very well, but they're just really small. But what they did, Joe, was they actually, for homecoming, they had about 3 or 4 high school bands in the area, right, to come and visit. Well, what they had done is that they gave these high school bands their music. So actually during the 5th quarter, the high school bands actually joined Hampton's band, and so it was the Hampton amalgamated band, because it was like 300 people in the thing. I don't know if anybody's going to talk about this on the 5th, but it's 300 people on Hampton's side. It was like 30 trombones and 60 trumpets or something crazy. And they're playing easy songs. But it was cool to see that, and I think a lot of Hampton will probably get some of those kids to join the band. Hampton's issue has been money. Hampton is an expensive private school, but
yes,
I think
indeed.
I talked to the band director. Yeah, I talked to the band director, and I think the administration is now with them again, because it used to be with them again as far as giving them that money that they need. So, lastly, if you're looking for an opportunity to march and go to one of the top 10, actually one of the top 3 or 4, top 4 black schools in the country, Hampton's a great opportunity, and they can give you a lot of money in the future. So that's what I'm excited about.
Well, that's what's up, Rashad. Well, hey, man, we always appreciate you being on. You always, I always give an analysis about what I'm seeing, how I'm feeling, and my response, but you definitely can break in and say, hey, that was 2nd position, not 3rd position, or that was the tubas, or that. So I appreciate your analysis, man. I really appreciate the partnership, and I always love block band music, man. And have a good week, and we'll be hearing from you next week. We don't know what the feature matchup will be, but I know we'll be hearing from you next week on the 90 Degree Show.
Good stuff. We appreciate the Marching Podcast, too, and you, man.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. Have a good week.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. We got one call. Chris Jones got disconnected for a second. But, Chris, I want to go ahead and fit in your quick analysis right quick. We got a quick little minute before we wrap up the show. But who do you think won on the field from the Circle City Classic from this weekend?
Grambling won on the field. I mean, had more showmanship, of course. I don't like. I'm amazed at everybody's drum majors now, but yeah, the drum majors are better. I don't like the confusion of dancing with the band and the keys dancing at the same time, but at the same time, that's Grambling style. I mean, I hate to be on that direction, but yeah, I mean, they had a good show. Alcorn needs to work on precision in marching and really increasing on being more aggressive and not making mental mistakes. I see a lot of mental mistakes in bands now. People get discombobulated instead of focusing on the task at hand. That's completing the whole band show. But like I was saying, Alcorn needs to work on that precision. But as far as sound, they got a great sound, and like you were saying something about they got a good sound, but articulations, attacks and releases, just being more precise on just playing together, and their thirds and their trumpet section need to be more stronger. Thirds in the trumpet section, you got to have some bottom to have a top.
Yep, you do.
And that was one of the things I learned at J State. You got to have that bottom to have that top. You got some bottom, you can your top can really really look rich and sound rich. But,
what do you think about what do you think about the stands at the Circle City? And then we'll have to wrap it up after that.
Oh man, like I said, Alcorn got them. Alcorn definitely got them in the stands, but as far as sound and volume. But Grambling has an interesting book. I must say that, and I look forward to seeing them against J State this week. But yeah, man, it was great being on the show again, and once again, Joe, good hearing from you, bro. I hope you keep on striving. I love the show. I've been checking the show out, but keep up the good work, brother.
Yeah, man, we'll have you on, man. I'll be talking to you throughout this week, man. So have a good week, man. I'll be hollering at you, man.
All right, then. You have a good one, Joe.
All right. Well, we come to the end of the show, and I'll go ahead and say now that we'll end the show with Grambling. Grambling playing their fantasy rendition. So shout out to Grambling, and shout out to Alcorn, shout out to Smith, and shout out to Winston for all the clips that we played tonight. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or a patron to the Marching Podcast, please contact the show. Play your commercial website on the blog with a social media. So contact us to help build your business. Thanks for listening. That's all the time we have for the show. Check out the website. Like us on Facebook. Remember, hot is better than life.